Hey everyone, it's Nick. I want to tell you about an ebook I published recently called the BS Free Spirituality Manifesto. Essentially, it's a guide to how to avoid cults, narcissists, and abuse of power on the path of spiritual self-development and personal transformation. On my own journey, I found myself in so many questionable situations with spiritual teachers and in communities and groups that I started to see patterns that I wanted to share with people. The more I talked about it, the more I realized that what I've been through is nothing compared to the abuses of power that other people have experienced. But in this video, I just wanted to talk a little bit about one of the intro points to starting to think about things in these ways, and that is the subject of safety. In a lot of different contexts, I encountered resistance to even bringing up the topic of safety. So to me, that's actually one of the first red flags to look for of whether a teacher or a group is not safe. In other words, if you can't even bring up the subject of safety, that's a red flag that it's not a safe space. In some of the spaces where I encountered that, it was coming from kind of a combination of old school 1960s hippie mentality and a little bit of Burning Man mentality as well, Burning Man philosophy, which is fine. I think if people are more clear up front about what the actual context is of a space, then you know, they can hold whatever kind of space they want. In other words, if somebody were to say in this community or in this group or at this retreat, it's an anything goes kind of thing. Nobody's going to be looking out for you. You've got to take care of yourself. It's all self-responsibility, self-reliance, that kind of thing. Then people could decide whether or not they were willing to take that responsibility for themselves in that sort of like Wild West kind of space. In other words, that's like saying there's no held container at all, or just nobody's going to be thinking about safety. Everybody's just going to have to do it on their own. Sometimes I encountered this voice like the spiritual warriorship voice, like things are just gonna get crazy and scary sometimes, and that's part of it. That's an unavoidable part of spiritual self-development, which I think is bullshit. I think that it's time for people holding any kind of space where somebody has an opportunity to change their beliefs and their experience of reality, because that could be psychotherapy. That could be something more like a spiritual class or workshop, even a yoga class, or even a festival. You know, a lot of festivals I'm seeing talk about spiritual self-development and transformation and conscious awakening, but they're not really paying a lot of attention to things like safety, not just physical safety, but also emotional, psychological, spiritual safety. All these things go together. And if any of those places were to be upfront that it's the responsibility of the person walking in there to take care of themselves, then even that would change. Even that would create safety in a way. But if you ever bring up safety and somebody comes back at you with verbal punishment, or they look at you like, what are you talking about? Or if it's not the leader, but the group pushes back, like, why are you even bringing that up? Because some people will take it personally, like you're implying that it's not safe just by asking about safety. So this is a red flag. I would say if that happens, you have a couple of options. One would be to say goodbye. Another would be to use something like nonviolent communication, express that you want there to be an upfrontness, a straightforwardness, so that people can decide for themselves, and then see what happens. So thanks for watching, and if this kind of thing interests you, if you have been disappointed in different spiritual self-development settings and transformational experiences, then please check out my ebook, because it's got a lot more of this kind of stuff, things to look out for, ways to take care of yourself, and tips on avoiding wastes of time, energy, money, all that kind of stuff. So until next time, I hope that your spiritual practice remains BS free.